Welcome to the University of Toronto. John Bennett with the play-by-play call. Not James Herbert this time. No James Herbert.
No, I'm not
time.
James Herbert.
We have Graham Wallace.
Great to be with you here.
Here with the color commentary.
Here, John.
It's great to have you, Graham. So we've got ourselves a pretty good matchup here, a quarterfinal OUA matchup here between some Toronto rivals. U of T is in the house, taking on your varsity Blues, and last time out it was a rough go, I guess you could say, for the visiting York Lions.
Yeah, it certainly was. They just got absolutely pulverized. 58-27 was the final score in that one. I expect to see a much more competitive effort from the Lions tonight. It's a playoff game. They're fired up, and they want to put on a good performance. Brittany Schotsky, this could very well be her last game in her collegiate career, and she definitely wants to go out with a good effort. Even if they don't get the win, they want to be a little closer than it was last time out.
Yeah, clearly she will help them at the offensive end, leading them in scoring. They didn't have her last time out. They're still without Nadia Kawash at the point guard spot as well. So the game score reads 2-0. Finn has hit a jumper, so 2-0 for the York Lions with 8:45 to go in the first quarter. Here's Pangos on the right side, driving in, taking it to Pierce, and Staunches comes away with the board.
Yeah, already we've seen some physical play from Staunches. We saw her hit the deck on that first possession for the Blues and grabbing a nice rebound there, so bringing a physical element early in this basketball game.
Yeah, absolutely, as Stratton misses from inside. She's not necessarily has a height advantage over a number of players, but she brings a physical presence on the interior that is desperately needed for this U of T squad. The shot falls there, so 4-0 York early on with 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Now that's two straight possessions we've seen Stratton trying to post up Kayla Pangos. She's definitely got the height advantage there. What do you think of that matchup overall, Graham?
Well, I definitely think that's a matchup that the University of Toronto can take advantage if they make the right kind of passes. You know, we didn't see them make a very good outlet pass to the post that time, and it ended up being a turnover. I think it's so important for the Lions to get out to a good start and not get behind early here.
Yeah, that was something they struggled with last time out, as Sider is called for the traveling violation on the perimeter. That was something they really struggled with last time out without the backcourt of Kawash and Stronsky. They just didn't have the ball handling to deal with U of T's pressure, and they only managed to score 3 points in that opening quarter.
Yeah, they've already bested that total in the first 2.5 minutes of this game.
And here's another long-range shot here.
That was a real rainbow that time, Johnny.
Yeah, great shot there by Finn, and forces Michelle Belanger to an early timeout. So York coming out ablaze, 7-0. And you've got to just wonder what's going through the heads of U of T's fifth-year seniors right now. 3 core players on their team who don't want to go down tonight.
No, they certainly don't. But, that sometimes happens. Sometimes when you go out and beat a team by 30 or more points, the next time you face them, that's still in your mind. And you said, we really handled this team last time we played them, and perhaps it's going to be the same way tonight. I think that it's a case of them coming out perhaps a little bit flat. Earlier in this game, we saw them have turnovers on 3 consecutive possessions, and just really not the kind of start that they wanted. As for York, it's exactly the kind of start that they're looking for. They know that they can play with this varsity Blues team. They've just got to keep things close, be aggressive, and get off to a good start. Because really, when I look at the depth of these two teams, the University of Toronto has a great advantage as far as that's concerned.
I've got to agree, and that was one of the things that they struggled with last time, York that is, when they came to the athletic center here, and they were only playing 6 players. And when you're facing a squad like U of T, as you mentioned, with great depth, they're going to press you and force a lot of turnovers. Forced 19 first-half turnovers early on. It's been the opposite story, U of T with 2 early turnovers in this game, as Staunches misses from about 15 feet out.
kind of forcing the issue, I think, a little bit there. You know, she was open. It's good to be aggressive, but it was fairly early in the shot clock. She didn't necessarily need to take that three-pointer there.
Totally agree. You know, she's capable of hitting it, but not necessarily her go-to, you'd say.
You know, it wasn't really a high percentage shot either.
York handling this pressure really well early on. Been able to set up in this half-court game pretty quickly. Great ball movement and a deep 2 hit there by Courtney Osborne. So 9-0 for the visiting York Lions.
And it's very close to being 10-0. She was very close to the three-point line there that time, John.
A very long 2 there, and U of T finally gets on the board. 2 points thanks to veteran point guard Sherry Pierce. Now last year, she wasn't able to play because of a serious injury in the playoffs in the bronze medal OUA game against Laurier. They struggled without her.
Yeah.
Stratton had an opportunity to step up. She's just such a great presence for this U of T team. She lets go from the corner, can't find the bottom of the net, and York goes the other way.
Even though they didn't get that last basket, I think it's huge for the Blues to finally get on the scoreboard. You know, they were down 9-0. They got a nice little easy basket there by Pierce with the layup, and they could get themselves focused and try to get back in this ball game.
Yeah, Pierce, such a leader for this team, but not necessarily a huge scoring presence, although she did have a career high recently with 27. As Sider lets go from 45 and hits back rim. So 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the first quarter. Score reads 9 points for York University, 2 for your University of Toronto Varsity Blues. Pangos controlling on the perimeter. Skip pass to Osborne. She tries to create, and Sherry Pierce comes away with it and hands it right back to Osborne. But it looks like Courtney Osborne, the second-year player from Markham, Ontario, is going to be whistled for a foul.
Well, it was a nice effort there by Pierce, getting in on the ball and getting the steal. Unfortunately, she lost her balance almost immediately and threw it right back to the Lions. But it's nice to see that kind of effort by the Blues on defense here.
Yeah, and you talk about their depth early on. They're a scrappy bunch. They're not afraid to hit the deck.
No, they're certainly not. However, they are missing one of their scrappiest players to injury, as we see another layup by Kayla Pangos, and that would be Leandra Kerr. She averaged almost a double-double this season, 9.5 big rebounds per game, also 10 points per game. She's out right now. She's really one of their more physical players, so they're going to have to be scrappier than ever if they want to win this game.
Yeah, well, without some size there, they've coped with it fairly well, as you mentioned, with them being so deep. There's another shot hit by York there, so now 13-2 for York. They're really running away with this one early on.
Yeah, the Blues have got to maintain their composure and just stay cool and try to hit some shots here before this one gets away from them.
4 minutes and 20 seconds left. 5 left on the shot clock. Pierce tries to create, and she hits. Nice little pull-up in the lane by Sherry Pierce.
All 4 points for the Blues, courtesy of Sherry Pierce.
York looking for options. A little swing and from downtown, so 3 more up on the board for the York Lions. 16-4 with 3:45 left in the first quarter. A shot missed there by Leanne Bailey. York's coming the other way, not afraid to run it, even though they do have that short bench. They're really pushing the pace.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think they've got to keep it up. You know, they usually only go 6 or 7 deep, but they've got to keep up this pace because it's working for them right now. A turnover there by Shotsky.
Yeah, Shotsky just handling that pressure so well early on. I mean, Medry looks invisible right at the defensive end, and I don't think it's for any fault of her own. I just think Shotsky's just such a phenomenal offensive player.
Yeah, she's absolutely explosive, John. She's got some great moves, and she's got a really nice jumper as well. And it's working for her early on in this game. She recovers this loose ball.
So here's York setting it up in the half court. Running a little 4-out set here. And U of T jumps on that, and they're going to try and push it the other way. Here's Stratton. Nifty little spin move and step through.
Oh, beautiful move by Jill Stratton.
Tremendous stuff that we've just grown accustomed to seeing from Jill Stratton. For a lot of players, that's not a routine move. That's something that's spectacular. For Jill Stratton, that is just routine for her.
A nice fake up and under move there by the sophomore.
There's April Hill trying to feed it inside to Haley Finn, and this one's going the other way.
Yeah, some nice intensity on the defensive end by the Blues here on these last couple of possessions. You know, they got it within 10. They've just got to kind of stay the course here. You know, they haven't got the start they wanted, but they've just got to keep battling here for the rest of these 2 minutes of this first quarter. Keep it close and not lose their composure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they try and attack right now. Sherry Pierce on the bench.
Another careless turnover, John.
Yeah, there's Bailey whistled for the travel. You know, you understand that you want to be aggressive. You want to get inside and try and get easy looks, but that 12-footer's open. Why not take it?
You got to take it. If you're open, you got to take that jumper. You know, if you hesitate and then you take it, or if you hesitate then you drive, your percentages of having a quality possession just go down.
So some nice interior defense there by the Blues. 16-6 for the visiting York Lions with 1:45 left in the first quarter. U of T on the attack. Here's Bailey. Crossover to the left side, and she is just blocked.
Nice block, Samantha Ernest. Oh, but is there going to be a foul? Oh, no, that was a good block.
Clean block and managing to get that one off of Leanne Bailey.
All ball.
Yeah, great defense by her. Stayed with it the entire way and just got her hands up. Didn't try to swat it. Didn't try and send it into the rafters. So here's Pangos, guarded by Stratton. Just under a minute and a half left in the first quarter. And a 16-6 York Lions lead right now. Shoots, defending, Pangos. Tries to drive right, draws a double. No dice, so 1 minute left, and here comes Medry. The fifth-year veteran feeding it inside. That one's bobbled by Van High. And Sider feeding back door to Stratton, who kicks. Medry can't find the bottom of the net. U of T setting up again. Another long ball. Again back rim. So even though it's a half-court game largely, these half-court sets are moving really quickly.
Yeah, they certainly are. You know, the Blues have a bit of an advantage as far as length is concerned. And, you know, we've seen them grab a couple of offensive rebounds, but they're not shooting the ball at a high percentage at all at this point in the game.
That's something we saw last time out. They took 71 shots in that game, only shooting 31%. The big difference, turnovers and offensive boards. York only getting 50 attempts from the field, and yes, they did shoot a worse percentage at 22.
Whoa.
Step through move.
That looked like a lot of steps to me there,
yeah,
John.
Maybe an extra one off that pivot foot, so Rachel Sider doesn't get that one to fall, but at the end of one, just 6 points posted by the host University of Toronto Varsity Blues over the visiting York Lions.
Yeah, we talked a lot about, you know, how they've dominated York in this last matchup, and they might be a little bit lethargic, a little bit sluggish coming out of this game, but think about how the Lions feel. They got absolutely crushed in that game. They've got pride on line. These are the playoffs, you know. You got to bring your A game if you want to win. This is the OUA playoffs, like I said, quarterfinals, and obviously the University of Toronto did not come out with that intensity, and York took advantage.
Yeah, you know, it's tough to overlook any team. York 8-14 on the year, and like you said, they doubled them up in the last matchup. York without two key players in Kerr and Kawash. But you can't ever count anybody out.
No, you certainly can't. And, we talked about Brittany Shotsky. She's the leader of this team. She's obviously in her final year of York basketball. There was an emotional home game for her in her final home game. She was honored there. We saw some of the York players wear those shirts with the number 5 on the front and Shotsky at the back. So they obviously want to come out with their best effort. She wants to play her best game that she possibly can. And they'd love to come out away with the win here, obviously.
Yeah, the only fifth-year player on this York Lions team, so nobody else really knows what she's going through on this squad and playing in her last game, or potentially her last game as a York Lion. And just playing with that edge, she's been solid so far, and as have the York Lions coming out on fire, shooting 7-14 for 47%, and U of T not having that much luck from the field, are they?
Well, no, they're not. I mean, we've seen them get some open looks, but the shots just aren't falling for them right now. And that's just the way the game of basketball works sometimes. Sometimes the shots aren't falling for you, but you just got to keep working hard, play good defense, and hope your luck turns around.
Yeah, Sherry Pierce early on getting the production for the U of T Blues. 2 of 4 for the field for 4 points, leading the way. Haley Finn really got York off to a great start. 2 of 4 from the field and hitting a big 3-pointer early on.
Yeah, sometimes when your main contributors aren't going, you got to go to the players who are. And right now, Haley Finn, like you said, great first quarter.
And I think Michelle Belanger can sense that she needs to get other people involved. And if they're going to rely on Sherry Pierce, this is going to turn into a really, really tough game for them. So Pierce sitting right now and has for the last couple minutes as York lets go with the desperation shot.
Well, I mean, she was their second leading scorer during the course of the season, but she was mostly in a complementary role to Jill Stratton. Also, obviously, Joanna Medry is a key player on the University of Toronto varsity Blues as well.
Yeah, Medry really brings that great element of if Stratton's getting doubled or the D is collapsing in on her, as Janelle Van High hits off of grabbing the offensive board. So 16-8, and back to Medry. She can really be a great player available for a skip pass who can knock down that 3-point shot, and U of T really applying pressure on the sidelines. It's going to result in a York turnover. That's something they do a lot. As soon as an opposition crosses half, they bring that half-court trap where they bring a double team along the sideline. You saw the effectiveness there.
Yeah, I certainly did. They pressured the sideline. They tried to throw a pass. It ended up being a little bit too high, forced the turnover. They've just got to maintain, as I alluded to earlier in the first quarter, they got to maintain their composure. They got to keep their cool out there. They've still got the lead. Play some good defense. It's more than likely.
And Medry hits from downtown.
Like we said before, the University of Toronto does have more depth. So, I mean, fatigue is going to be a factor at some point. So they got to make smart decisions with the ball.
Yeah, costly turnovers when they do have starters on the floor. Almost another one there. It looks like we're going to have a foul here on Rachel Sider. Got a little too close to April Hill on the sideline. But I have to agree with you. Fatigue, I think, is going to become a factor in this game eventually. York, not a lot of depth. U of T really can go 10 deep. Yeah, they can.
And the Lions got a little bit lucky on that play. They were scrambling a little bit before the foul. They're lucky they didn't turn it over again.
So a high post roll here by Samantha Ernest. She's going to hand that one off. And on the outside, it's Finn looking inside for Pangos. Kicks. That one's off back rim. Stratton saves it. Gets it back from Medry. She's not afraid to push the pace. Pierce now in the corner. Medry kicks over to Sider, and Sider can't find it, but Stanches is in there grabbing the offensive board. Early on, a great storyline, the offensive board. Graham, they're all over them. U of T, that is.
Yeah, and Megan Staunches is certainly leading that charge. Great job on the offensive rebound there. She wasn't really able to get much of a shot on the putback, but still great determination. And she's going to get to shoot a pair from the charity stripe.
Yeah, Staunches with a couple of offensive boards are already.
She's really got some good size. I mean, that's one thing. In addition to the advantage as far as the depth is concerned, they've also got the height advantage. You know, when you look at the Blues starting five, Sanchez is 5'11". No one is 6 feet or taller. But when you look at some of the players that come off the bench, you know, Janelle Van High, Julie Longauer, Amanda Lauzon, they're all 6 feet or taller. So they've got the advantage, not only as the number of bodies, but also the height of the bodies as well. And that may kind of wear on the Lions as this game progresses.
Yeah, not a lot of big bodies for York. Samantha Ernest can definitely play inside, as can Haley Finn, but she's mostly an outside player. We saw her hit the three early on. She's more of a swingman kind of small forward type. Pierce forcing the issue.
Yeah, it's funny. Just as you said that, we saw Ernest go inside for the Lions with a nice post move. Wasn't quite able to finish, however.
So a couple of different looks from both squads that we haven't really seen. York trying to post up some smaller U of T guards on occasion, anytime they feel they have a real size advantage. And the same thing from U of T with Stratton when she's being defended by Kayla Pangos. York going inside to Ernest and got a traveling violation.
Yeah.
Just a little shuffle.
Yeah, she left her pivot feet a little bit. I'm actually a little bit surprised, John, that Stratton hasn't had a bigger impact in this game so far. You know, she's the leading scorer for the Blues. She's 6th in the OUA, 14.5 per game, but she really hasn't had much of an impact at all in this game so far.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you see Medry get off to a hot start. Sometimes you see Staunches there. She might have gotten away with a quick little walk there. There's never really exactly one player necessarily who's getting it done early on, but come crunch time, I'd expect Stratton to kind of put the gas pedal down there.
Yeah, she's definitely the leader of this team. You know, definitely as far as scoring in those crunch time moments, I think you look at Staunches, you look at Medry as other types of leaders as well. Certainly Pierce can play that role as well. The thing is, Stratton, she may only have 2 points at this point in the game, but she does have 3 rebounds as well.
Yeah,
she's out there battling.
Trying to find other ways to contribute. Great point.
That's right.
Graham, and so Sider converts from the line after putting up the circus shot, and Joanna Medry comes out to a nice little ovation. Score is 16-13.
Some heavy pressure here for the Blues. And another turnover.
That length of Julie Longauer causing real issues on that. She's just so long at 6 feet, but she's able to move her feet so quickly as well. She was guarding guards in the full court press there.
Yeah, when you can have a player who has that sort of length that can move around and really disrupt another team's offense before they even initiate it, that's an incredible weapon for your basketball team.
So we've got a timeout on the floor. Score is 16-13 with 6:21 left in the first half.
Now we've seen the Blues go on a 7-0 run in this quarter. The Lions have yet to score, and you know we may have more than 6 minutes to go in this first half, but I think fatigue is already setting in a little bit, John, for these York Lions.
Yeah, early on the press didn't really look like it was causing that many different problems for York. But when one person is counted on, or two people even, 2 players on a squad, to handle the ball for the majority of the time against a full court press, if that full court press is run longer than a quarter or two, that wears on you. You're going to get tired. There's just no way you can really combat that unless you have more ball handlers.
Well, do you think that York may actually extend their coach? Do you think Bill Pangos might, extend his bench, play a couple of players that don't necessarily get a lot of burn or haven't throughout the season, just simply because this is the playoffs. Obviously, you want to play your best players, but you don't want to wear them down. I mean, do you think we might see someone enter the game here before the end of the half who doesn't necessarily usually get a lot of playing time?
Oh, perhaps, but I know there's a certain fifth-year senior on York who probably isn't going to want to come out of the game all that often, especially if this could potentially be her last game, as it could be for 3 U of T starters as well. So York working a pick and roll combo there. And a little scoop shot by Osborne doesn't go. It's Stratton. Oh, great pass by Jill Stratton, finding Julie Longauer on the break. There's that speed from 2 exceptionally long players as well.
Yeah, it was a great play and transition there by the Blues, and it all started with their defense. A great collapse on the drive. You know, the York player thought they had an open path to the basket. The other player just came in, and it just caused the turnover and led to an easy basket.
Yeah, great point. It wasn't really, I don't want to say they forced the issue to be able to get that fast break, but by collapsing and then having that quick outlet pass to Stratton, they were able to take advantage, and Longauer really broke out with speed, and nobody was able to catch her. Here's Pierce just disrupting anything that York really wants to run.
She plays with an incredible intensity, John.
Yeah, you know, she had 80% ligament damage last year, and she still managed to stay in a game. She's a fierce competitor, and I don't think anything's going to keep her from coming out of this one, whether it be fatigue or, God forbid, an injury. I mean, fingers crossed.
A little knock of the wood there,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
we just missed actually a really smart play by Brittany Schotsky. She was running out of time on the 5-second inbounds clock, and she actually passed it off one of the Blues.
Great awareness to be able to do that. It's a risky play, but if you can pull it off and save your coach a timeout, that could be huge going into late stages of this game. So 16-15, the York Lions still lead this one. But as you mentioned, Graham, they've yet to score in the second quarter. And we're almost 5 minutes in with 5:34 remaining in the half. Free ball there. No rim, so here comes Pierce. That one's just
wow,
uncharacteristic of Pierce.
Well, it's a bit uncharacteristic of Schotsky as well for a shot to completely miss everything, and then we saw Pierce miss everything with the pass there too. So a couple of a couple of blooper plays there by both teams, and they'll reset it with the Lions still holding a 1-point lead.
Let's just forget about those 2 plays and look at what U of T just did. York unable to advance it over the half-court line, bringing that 1-2-2 pressure. That's really been their catalyst all year long. Early on in the season, they were blowing out teams early on in games because they just weren't used to handling the pressure, and that depth of U of T was really wreaking havoc, and now it's paying dividends that everybody on this roster can play. Is Stratton.
Wow, Stratton hitting the floor hard there. A real battle for the ball there. And it's going to be U of T basketball.
She gets right back up.
She is a tough competitor, John.
Yeah, you know, she doesn't have the thickest frame. I think it's an advantage, personally, because she's able to slide into a couple of little gaps quickly, and she's quite elusive. But we have seen some teams try and bully her, try and beat her up a little bit, whether it be at the offensive end or defensive end.
Wow, we've seen the continued aggressiveness of Megan Staunches, but another forced three-pointer there. You know, she had a player right on her. She decided to put it up anyways. She hasn't had the shot going so far today. Bit of an ill-advised decision. Fortunately, they're able to get the ball back.
And here's Stratton over to Medry. Going inside, nice little hook shot move, doesn't go for Leanne Bailey.
Well, Staunches, even when the York Lions grab the rebound, she's right there trying to swat it away. She's an extremely aggressive player.
Stratton ends up on the floor again. Yeah, a real trademark of the U of T women's team this year. All 5 players crashing in the glass. Sherry Pierce sometimes with 6-7 rebounds in games where she's getting 3 or 4 of them at the offensive end because she's just so aggressive, and she doesn't end up with a rebound. She just ends up picking up the loose ball, and U of T resets for another possession. So here's Pierce calling out the play. Trying to work this zone, and they get the 3 from the 45-degree angle. And she's going to let go again. Second time, not the charm for her. Stancius almost getting the ball back for U of T. Some nifty ball handling by York. And a quick half-court violation. I didn't think York had full possession of that. I guess they must have been counting possession from the point before Megan Stancius touched the ball and tried to save it out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that either. That seemed like an extremely quick 8 seconds, John, but nevertheless, obviously they make the calls, and it's going to be University of Toronto basketball. York really struggling with this pressure, and despite not scoring in over 6 minutes, they've still got the lead.
Yeah, and you can see Pangos grabbing a quick water break. They just don't have the bodies to be able to bring in a fresh 2 or 3 players at a time, and you see U of T being able to bring Stancius off the floor and bring in Amanda Lausen, and you know what? There's not a lot of drop off between the two, and that doesn't mean to take anything away from Stancius's game. It's just a real credit to how well every player on this team integrates into their offensive and defensive systems.
Yeah, and the way Stancius has been playing so hard, she could use a little rest. I think that would do her and her team some good at this point in time.
So 3:30 left in the first half. U of T still down only by 1 point. Now York yet to score, been shut out in the second quarter as Pierce is going to be whistled for 2. And
I believe Stratton got a finger in the eye or something in that possession. I saw her guarding, Samantha Ernest, and I think she got her hand up a little bit in her face, and she got the worst of it, but she seems to be okay.
So Medri jumps the passing lane. And there's Stratton trying to hit from about 12 feet out. And York's going to hold on to this ball.
Well, the Blues are just attacking every single offensive rebound, defensive rebound. They're going after every pass. They're just being extremely aggressive. It's going to take a really gutty effort by the Lions to pull this game out here today, I believe.
So now they go into a little 2-2-1 press just to slow down the Lions, and the Lions are setting up their offense with 10 seconds left in the shot clock.
They've got to find a better way to combat this zone, John.
Here's a little kick, and it would have either been a last-second shot by Pangos or shot clock violation.
That can't be your offense. A last-second shot or driving to the basket. Pretty much their offense this entire quarter, John, has been a turnover, a half-court violation, a missed basket, or, well, that's pretty much covers everything because they have 0 points.
Yeah, they've really just struggled even getting the ball over half. It's not even a case of they're not running good offensive sets. It's they're not getting into those sets early enough, and sometimes not at all because the pressure has been relentless, and as you mentioned, fatigue possibly about to play a factor. It has now. We're seeing it happen.
Yeah, it certainly has. And let's credit the University of Toronto Varsity Blues. They're playing extremely aggressive defense. They almost remind me of Rick Pitino's Kentucky Wildcats from the 1990s. They were just full court press for 40 minutes, and they would just wear teams down. Sometimes a team would get off to a good start, like we saw the Lions do today, and they would it seemed like they would have things under control. But then that trap would come in, and the teams just couldn't deal with it, and that's exactly what's happening with the Lions here today.
Yeah, and at the offensive end for U of T, if they are able to capitalize and get quick points off those turnovers in transition, they're doing just that. But if they aren't getting an easy look, they are taking shots about 10, 12 seconds into the shot clock because they're available, and right now they're just not falling. So shooting just 21% on the night so far, 6 of 29 and 1 for 8 for 13% from downtown. So right now they're just not falling, but you know what? I like their odds with the number, just the quantity of shots that they're getting overall.
Yeah, I alluded to it before. I mean, they're getting, for the most part, some pretty decent shots. They're just not falling at this point in time. You got to think that's going to change eventually.
So Pierce looking inside, and that's exactly where you want to attack that zone. When you put a player about 12, 15 feet away from that baseline, it stretches that extra baseline defender away from the interior post defender, or offensive player rather, so you're either going to get a look inside, or if they don't want to guard that player along the baseline at 12, 15 feet, you're going to get a jumper from the baseline about every time.
A nice job by Ernest getting her hands in the passing lanes and causing the turnover.
So with 2:15 left in the first half, Rachel Sider about to check into this game, and York is up by 1 point, 16 to 15 over your host, University of Toronto Varsity Blues. Just going to have to let this one go, and Ernest just poor recognition of the shot clock. I thought she was going to let it go as soon as she caught it.
There is absolutely no excuse for that, John. I mean, she caught the ball with about 3 seconds left on the shot clock. She's got to put that up. I almost wanted to yell it out myself, shoot it! But obviously, I'm not the coach. I'm the color commentary. I've got to stay neutral in this game, and it's just unfortunate that they didn't have an opportunity to score in that possession.
Yeah, understandable. So now York still trying to play some passing lanes there, but not sticking in that zone, and Pierce can't come away with anything.
Nice job by Samantha Ernest coming up with that rebound.
Yeah, she's done a solid job over the last couple possessions now, as you mentioned before, getting her hand in some passing lanes, and now grabbing a board. 1:25 left in the opening half in this quarterfinal OUA matchup between the York University Lions and the home U of T Varsity Blues, 16 to 15 for the York Lions.
Yeah, Ernest now tied for a team high along with Courtney Osborne. Oh, excuse me, she actually is in the team lead with 6 boards now for the Lions. A real gritty effort by Samantha Ernest. And now we're seeing the Lions with the aggressive defense. They may not be doing it in the same way, John. They're not doing the full court press, but they're jumping up, getting their hands on balls, and making it as difficult as possible for the University of Toronto to initiate their offense.
Yeah, a real neat matchup in how both teams are attacking each other on defense, really. I mean, U of T trying to bring that full court press, and York just trying to sit back in a zone and just kind of slow things down and force some outside shots like Pierce from there. And as we mentioned, the outside shots just not falling.
Great footwork there by Megan Staunches. After she collected the rebound, she took a little dribble, made the extra little move with her feet there, was able to get the rebound. She's just having a very tough game right now for the University of Toronto. She's got just 3 points, but 5 rebounds, and she's been battling all game long.
Yeah, you know, they forced another 3-point attempt. Now 1 for 9 on the night for U of T. Just that's just rough. That's just really rough. 11% from downtown and just 22% from the field. So
yeah,
they are struggling to shoot the ball. But when you're getting efforts like Megan Staunches is giving on the inside, then you can afford to miss that many shots and still be in this game, and in fact to be leading the game currently 17 to 16 for the Varsity Blues.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, she's really having a Charles Oakley type of performance. She's going after loose balls. She's getting offensive rebounds. She's scoring when she can, but that's really not why she's out there. She's out there to bring the intensity, get rebounds, like I said, and she's just been doing a great job. And we finally see the Blues take the lead in this game in the final minute.
That's a great comparison, Graham.
Thank you.
She's a bit undersized, I would say, overall against the premier posts in CIS basketball. But at the same time, just like Oakley, she has a solid frame, solid set of shoulders, and right now at this point in her career, bring a veteran presence as a fifth-year player, much like Oakley did in his late days. And you know, even like 5-6 years in with Oakley, kind of had that veteran feel to him as well.
Yeah, I remember him as a part of the Knicks team, and they were a very tough team to play against. John Starks and Patrick Ewing. Was very fond of that team. It's too bad they weren't able to capture a championship, but still a very memorable team, nonetheless.
Some similar style, tenacious defense happening from U of T, and U of T hoping to get back to CIS championships.
That call took a long time to come in. I don't know what was going on there, but it seemed like it was York basketball. The referee thought about it a bit, and then he reversed his call. I don't know if I've seen something like that before.
Yeah, not sure exactly of the confusion, but nonetheless, U of T basketball up 17-16 with 40 seconds left in the half, and look at Stratton. She really wants that ball. And on the inside, Sider corrals it. So 28 seconds left. Pierce resets. She's going to jack this one from downtown.
Yeah, she's going to keep shooting it, John. Whoa! Battle for the ball.
And just a great heads-up play by Megan Staunches. That was a missed shot. York ball going the other way with 19 seconds left. You just grabbed yourself another possession for your team by tying up York for the loose ball.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, and I think she needs to continue doing that, battling for boards. Her shots haven't been falling so far today, so I think she's got to focus on her rebounding and aggressive defense as well. Also, I got to mention, great job as well by Courtney Osborne for battling with her. She's got, obviously she's not quite as tall as her, but a great job just staying with the play there and staying with the ball as well.
Yeah, you've got to just feel for whoever has to guard Megan Staunches, whoever has to box Megan Staunches out at the defensive or offensive end trying to crash the boards. 4 seconds left. Pangos tries to put that one up. York looking for a desperation shot late in the first half. They don't get it. Great defense by U of T and mediocre execution, I would say, maybe by York at the offensive end.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, you have to applaud the effort, as I said before, of the varsity Blues. Just fantastic defense, great pressure. But we saw a couple times when the Lions could have maybe dealt with that pressure a little bit better, and we saw another time when they had a chance for an open shot, but they didn't realize that the shot clock was going down. And when things aren't going your way, when your opportunities are limited, you really have to make sure that your awareness is where is at the level that it needs to be to take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely, Graham. So currently, at the end of the first half, U of T up 17-16. We'll be back with the second half in just under 15 minutes' time.
Right, okay. And then when she
Welcome back to the University of Toronto's Athletic Centre. It's the University of Toronto Varsity Blues women's basketball team against the York Lions. John Bennett with a play-by-play, joined by Graham Wallace on color commentary. We have a close game between these two squads. 17 points for U of T, 16 for York. Graham, what did you see in that first half of play?
Well, I saw a York Lions team that came out very determined at the outset of this game, and they came out shooting the ball very hot. And, they hit several shots at the beginning of the game, and they took an early lead of 10 points at the end of the first quarter. However, in the second quarter, they could not deal with the intense pressure put on them by the Varsity Blues, and they actually went scoreless over that entire quarter, and they relinquished the lead.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something for U of T to hang their hat on. But you know what? They only come away with a 1-point lead after, like you said, holding their opponent to 0 points in a quarter. So you've got to be a little bit disappointed after a quarter like that sees you finish the half shooting 21% and just 11% from downtown as Pierce pops from inside.
Well, I said it before, John. She's got a shooter's mentality. She's not going to stop shooting the ball. She's already forgotten about that last miss and every other miss she's had in this ball game. She's going to continue to shoot because she knows that eventually they're going to start falling for her.
Yeah, and something that we haven't seen from her that much in this game, but do see from her frequently when she does struggle with her shot, she takes it to the net and tries to get to the line, really tries to force the issue because she has good enough ball handling ability that if she gets into a little bit of trouble, she can dribble her way out of it or at least try and get up a shot inside 4 feet.
Another thing she shouldn't she shouldn't forget is the mid-range game. She doesn't need to go all the way to the cup. And a lot of times that's what the defenders are expecting. Sometimes it's good to start your drive and then pull up for another 8 to 10 footer or something like that. And a lot of times the defense isn't expecting it because that's kind of become a forgotten part of basketball, the mid-range game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people are bringing it back, but
kind of 12 to 16, 17 foot jumper, anything just inside the 3-point line.
Exactly.
So Pangos dealing with Pierce on the outside, and York with a quick little swing, and Ernest
See, in the first quarter, John, we saw those type of rainbow shots falling for the Lions, and they're just not right now. They're going to really have to battle for points in this game because they are hard to come by.
Stratton struggling to get that one up at
nice
the net.
Rebound by Haley Finn.
Yeah, really battling down in there. And we talked about it earlier. Not really a fast break kind of game, but the pace at which both teams are moving inside of half-court sets is really, really ferocious. They're really moving the ball quickly as Staunches
How about Megan
inside.
Staunches just battling for the ball? Wow. She wasn't able to get the 2 points there, but a couple of more offensive rebounds. Like I said, she's got to pass that ball out. Her offensive game is not working in this contest. As we see Shotsky with the shots, finally, for the Lions.
Yeah, Shotsky can start nailing those shots. Then U of T's really got to watch out.
Pangos hitting the deck there.
So here's Stratton feeding Staunches inside. Staunches with a nice little
Wow,
move.
She muscled her way in for that one.
Yeah, nice little hook shot off glass and gets 2 points. 19-19, a tie ball game with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. Just 3 minutes into this second half. Great drive inside, and it's Staunches. You know who. She's in there.
She's everywhere, John. I mean, every time there's a loose ball, she's right around it. I alluded to the fact earlier that it doesn't seem to be her day offensively, but she just made a nice move inside there. She does have 5 points, and she seems determined to have a quality offensive performance in this game, in addition to a dogged rebounding game as well.
And there you see Pierce just going after it, trying to push the pace and making sure that she can get something going at the offensive end. She ends up at the free throw line. She's converted the first of two, so a 20 to 19 U of T game right now. over the York Lions, now 21. So a 2-point lead for the Varsity Blues.
Just to give you an update on Stancha, she has 5 points and a team-high 9 rebounds in this basketball game.
Yeah, she can start getting some of those offensive rebounds converted into 2 points, as Michelle Belanger is just irate at the call there. She thought that was clean and thought that it was going to be a 4-point lead.
Yeah, a bit of a controversial call there. It appeared as though the Blues had the steal. Obviously, they weren't very happy about the call there. We saw Michelle Belanger throw her arms up like, what happened there? What was the call there? But the Lions do have the ball. We've seen a couple of close calls go the other way, so that's just the game of basketball. Sometimes the calls are going to go your way. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah, frustration on the part of Michelle Belanger, and understandably so. A bit of a late call, but nonetheless, if it's the right call, then the refs have to make it. So some nice movement outside, and Ernest off front rim. Here's Pierce.
I think she got part of her shot partially blocked that time, John.
You might be right there, as Medri doesn't get blocked at all on that 3-point attempt. She's all net. Now 24-19. You can just feel the gym really building off of that shot. The momentum certainly swaying their direction. York's got to quiet this crowd.
Absolutely. My seat is absolutely shaking right now. The crowd's been waiting to get into this game, and that 3-point splashdown by Medri gave them the opportunity to do so, and now even more so.
Stanchis with a 2-handed block. She's just been a force, and she brings the ball up, too.
She could do everything. Oh, and another rebound. Who else? Megan Stanchis.
So Megan Stanchis.
What an effort here by Megan Stanchis.
Just absolutely leading the way. She has double digits in rebounds now. That should be rebound number 11 for her.
She's got to be careful, though, because a lot of these rebounds she's grabbing, she's got her elbows flailing. If she's not careful, she's going to pick up a foul or even worse, injure a player of the Lions or even her own teammate.
Yeah, she's just so physical in there. She makes up for that maybe lack of size against bigger posts by being so physical and using her frame wisely. And wow, I can't believe how well she's playing. It's not surprising to see Stanchis play well, but she's absolutely dominating the paint at both ends of the court.
Well, I mean, I think she realizes that some of the other playmakers for the Varsity Blues aren't really having the type of performances that they would like. I mean, we've seen Pierce really struggle with her shot. We haven't seen a huge impact from Jill Stratton. So I think she's kind of taking it upon herself to really take on a leadership role on the court and really contribute any way she can. And the way she's going after balls has to inspire her teammates.
Yeah, and that you hit the nail on the head there, Graham. It's not that she's just getting these rebounds. It's the way she's getting them. She's creating energy, giving energy to her teammates by being such a hustle player out there and diving in there for quick offensive boards, using a 4-step method to be able to grab those boards. Samantha Ernest has 8 boards, but if you were just watching this game without a box score in front of you, you would think Megan Stanchis has 20 rebounds and Samantha Ernest has 4
everywhere.
or 5.
Yeah, she's been everywhere on the court for the Blues. It's really, like I said, an inspired performance. And, I made the Charles Oakley comparison, and I don't want to make too many comparisons, but you said, how she's a little bit undersized. It kind of reminds me a little bit of another Charles, and that would be Charles Barkley. I know we're talking about NBA basketball and men's basketball, and maybe I'm going a little too far with that, but when I think about Barkley, I thought about a determined player who would just go after every rebound with everything he had, and that's what I'm seeing from Stanchis. As she flushes down an outside shot. Wow.
Now she's really got it going on. I mean, she brought the ball up on that last possession as U of T drifts into this 1-2-2 full court, or 3-quarter press rather. Pangos trying to beat it, and Stanchis coming away with the steal. She's fouled. Wow.
What an unbelievable performance by Megan Stanchis, but the Lions need to be a little bit more precise with their passes there. Pangos was able to initially beat the trap. She was trying to find Brittany Shotsky, but the pass was just simply too high for the 5'7" Shotsky. And they've got to be a bit more accurate here. And they got to be careful because this game's starting to get away from them a little bit.
And you know what? I'd be really worried as Medri hits from downtown and now makes it a 10-point game, 29-19 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I'd be really worried about Shaltsky. She just picked up her third foul. And you know what? We've got 15 minutes left in this game, and she's going to have to play, I would say, probably 13 plus of those remaining 15 minutes to keep them in this game scoring-wise.
Yeah, she's got to make sure not to pick up another one anytime soon. Nice basket there on the last possession by Haley Finn to cut the lead to 8.
Yeah, nice little jumper from the baseline, showing a little bit of range. It's a nice little drive in there by Finn, and the swing to Pangos, looking to post up Osborne inside, and the length of Julie Longhour causing some problems as Stratton's going to check in.
Yeah, she's got extremely long arms, John. She's able to reach into the passing lanes. Wasn't able to get the steal there, but obviously knock it out of bounds, and Lions are going to have to reset here.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see her play defense because she never reaches and loses positioning. On that possession, she wasn't fronting or three-quartering as Samantha Ernest just slips in the back door there and is going to go to the line for 2. She never reaches and to put her while putting herself out of position. She had perfect position. She wasn't three-quartering or fronting on defense, but still able to affect that passing lane because of those long limbs you talked about.
Yeah, nice positioning also as we switch to lines by Samantha Ernest, getting terrific position in the post, able to get a couple of free throws. It's got to be very difficult for her to concentrate with those, sounds like a vuvuzela or something going on in here. It is extremely loud in the sports complex right now.
So now York picking up with a little bit of pressure and U of T beating it easily. If I were York, you know what? I'd stay away from that because the speed of U of T could really cause problems. They could get some really quick scores if they're able to beat that press easily. Oh, Megan Staunches with the offensive board, not able to get anything out of it, but there she is again. I think she's going to pick up a foul here.
Well, you know what? The Lions have got to do a better job of boxing out. They got to know where Staunches is at all times because it doesn't matter where she is because she's coming after the ball. Wherever she is on the court, wherever the ball is on the court, they got to do a better job of boxing out, but a nice job of blocking her last shot attempt.
Yeah, you know, she tried to get in there. Just her second foul. For a player who plays so physically, just 2 fouls in the game, that's a bonus at this point.
Yeah, she's playing a smart game at this point.
Okay, so here's Stratton on the left side. Finds shooting. A nice little shot off glass by Christy Shute. We talked about the depth early on. Christy Shute, a player who comes from a great basketball high school in General Amherst, who isn't a star for this squad. I mean, there's just tremendous depth on this team that you forget about the Christy Shutes on this team, and then they burn you like they did on that last possession.
Yeah, they've got about 10 effective players. You know, you think about their starting 5, and it's extremely solid, but as you alluded to before, when they do go to the bench, they're not really losing a lot. They're getting a lot of the same athletic ability, a lot of the same talent level, and a lot of the same production as well. Yeah. And you love to see that if you're a fan of the Varsity Blues.
Yeah, you don't see a drop-off at all, like you said, and it's just some solid basketball. You see them run the same sets. You don't see them rely on one primary starter when they have bench players in there. It's almost like, hey, you know what? Sub a couple in, and you're not going to notice.
I would like what I'm seeing from the Lions. Some full court pressure there on this defensive possession, but no rebound. Everyone's standing around.
And the smallest player on the floor, Pierce.
Twice in a row. That's got to be disappointing for Bill Pangos.
Yeah, so 31-24 at this point for the U of T Blues. 2:50 left in the third quarter, and Julie Longhour slips in for 2. 33-24 for your Varsity Blues, and a turnover on the York Lions.
Yeah, that's an extremely frustrating sequence there for the Lions. A pretty good defensive effort. They had the full court press going, but 2 offensive rebounds by Sherry Pierce, the smallest player on the court. They're able to get a bucket, and then a turnover by the Lions.
And Medri just hitting from 3 again. She's really found her stroke.
Yeah, she certainly has. And when she's got her shooting stroke going, the Varsity Blues are an extremely dangerous team because she does so many other things for their team. I mean, she's a good rebounder. She can handle the ball. She's a pretty good passer. And she's a leader out there on the floor. So when you add to all those things, she's got the stroke going. She's got the shot falling for her. There's really no stopping this team.
Yeah, she's having a great game. 4 for 6 from the field. All of her shots coming from downtown for 12 points. Few rebounds and assists, and add in a steal with 0 turnovers. That's great production from a guard.
Yeah, that's an extremely efficient game that Joanna Medri's playing. She's a veteran. She's in her 5th year as well. And she's just a smart basketball player. We alluded it before about Megan Staunches. She's another senior. She is playing an extremely physical game. She has collected, 12 rebounds in this game, and she's played a very physical style of play, but only 2 fouls. So that's got to be very encouraging for this coaching staff of the Varsity Blues, led by Michelle Belanger.
Yeah, she's not shooting a great percentage out there, but a lot of these shots she's taking, just because they're inside of 4 feet, doesn't mean she should necessarily be hitting them. I've thought on a lot of occasions there's been a lot of contact there, whether it's been initiated by her or the defender is up to interpretation, but tough contested interior shots. So, you know what? I'll take 3 from 10 from her if she already has 12 boards and not in foul trouble at all.
Absolutely, yeah. 7 points.
And now U of T coming away with the ball.
Yeah, and again, I think we may have got another hand to the face this time to Samantha Ernest. So a couple of tough breaks for the Lions. They're down by 14 right now. This game's slipping away from them.
So down 14, as you mentioned, Graham, and 53 seconds left in this third quarter. York basketball, and U of T trying to drop the gauntlet on this one. Still going with this full court press now. A triple team between Longauer, Medri, and Stratton on Pangos. That's got to be frustrating. You bring the ball over half, and there's 3 bodies in your way.
Yeah, it's really facing this defense, John. It's almost like running a gauntlet. You get by one defender, you're kind of tired. You get by another one, you get by half point. You look for a defender, and you're tired already. And there's 3 more standing in your way, and it's just been too much for the Lions to overcome.
It's almost as if that every breath that they try, every time they try to exhale, that grip gets tightened just a little bit. Every time they get a little further over half court, U of T tightens the grip, tightens their defense just a little bit more, and now this one's turning into a bit of a track meet. Longauer, I think she blocked that one with her armpit.
Yeah, she got a lot of ball there. You almost feel like she could have actually grabbed the ball with her one hand, but it's hard to have the presence of mind to do that. So are you trying to say, John, that the Lions are waiting to exhale?
Yes, I think so.
Have you seen the movie?
I haven't seen it, but I think that might be one for next weekend. Not for this one, though, because this rate U of T is going to be playing on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's right. Looking forward to that semifinal matchup that may be. I think we've seen a little bit of frustration boil over for the Lions. We saw Haley Finn with frustration on her face as she was talking to her teammate, Brittany Schotsky.
And Longauer hits from 3. That wraps up the third quarter of play here at the Athletic Complex. So 41-24. U of T's really blown this one open. And you've got to feel for Bill Pangos and his girls. Where do they look for answers right now? What can he even say to them at this point in time?
Well, I would just say, take it one possession at a time. You're down 17 points. You can't get 17 points in one possession. The most you could possibly get is, 4, which is extremely rare, but 2 or 3. Let's try to have some good possessions. Let's I would like to see them continue the defensive pressure as far as the full court pressure is concerned. But I think these girls are just getting really tired out there on the court, John. We alluded to it several times as far as the lack of depth. And I think it's really starting to, a little bit of feedback there, I think it's really starting to take its toll on these Lions.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about York's fifth-year senior. Looking like this is going to be her last game. Let's break down her performance so far, Graham.
Well, she's played a decent game, Brittany Shotsky. She's played in 29 minutes, so she's actually been on the court, I think, the entire game. She's got 8 points right now. She's only 3 of 8 from the field. We've seen her take a couple of ill-advised shots. She's also got 6 turnovers in this game, a couple of rebounds. Kind of an uneven performance. I would call it a subpar performance for a player at the caliber that she is at. But you know what? It's really hard to play at your top level when you've got emotions going on like this. And also, when you're facing a tough opponent like she is today in the University of Toronto.
Yeah, she's facing some tough guards. And you know what? Kayla Pangos, her backcourt mate, isn't having too shabby of an afternoon herself with 5 turnovers as well, going 1 for 4 from the floor with just 2 points. They're both struggling out there.
Yeah, I really don't think that, no offense to either of those players, but I think York really lacks the kind of ball handling and, team play and passing ability to deal with the pressure, full court pressure that the Blues have been putting on them for most of this game.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of it. It's not just Sherry Pierce being a better player necessarily than Kayla Pangos. I think it's an overall general concept of just a little edging speed there as Medry grabs the ball in just about every position on defense, and their ability to move laterally and get those steals and cut off lanes on every possession, at every position by just a little bit, and those inches are adding up. What a shot by Stratton. This is really getting out of hand.
Yeah, it certainly is. The lead's up to 19 now, and we've really seen the Varsity Blues play a lot more efficiently here in the second half. They only shot 21% in the first half, but we've seen their shots go down with a lot more frequency in this second stanza.
Yeah, and then April Hill getting called for the foul. It's a bit of a touch foul because you were going to see 2 points scored there by Rachel Sider just quickly on the break, and you prevented 2 points, but you pick up a foul, and hey, maybe you get a little breather. Maybe you get a quick breather.
Yeah, sometimes a break's as good as a rest.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I believe that's the phrase. But I want to talk a little bit about the performance of the University of Toronto Varsity Blues. Julie Longauer right now, she's had a really nice performance off the bench. She's got 9 points, Sean, in 9 minutes of play. She's been extremely efficient. We've seen her hit a couple of shots from outside. We saw that big block as well. So it just speaks, again, to the depth that U of T possesses.
Yeah, shooting 57% from the field is Longauer, and that's just great efficiency. So here's Medry really taking it to the York defense. Can't get the little scoop shot with the left hand to go. 8 minutes and 50 seconds as Shotsky brings up the ball in what's looking like her last game. 45-24 for U of T. Crossover, skip past to Shotsky, and from my angle it was dribbled off her foot, but I think we're going to get a foul before that on Rachel Sider.
Yeah, Lions may have got a little bit lucky with that call there. We've seen a couple of close calls here in this game, but nevertheless the Lions take over possession. A minute and a half gone here in the final quarter.
struggling to control it there was Ernest, and she gets the ball over to Osborne, and Osborne swarmed by another teammate. Wow, really surprised not to see Shopsky pick up a fourth there.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the refs to be taking it easy on her because it's her last game here in all likelihood. But she may have got a little bit lucky on that one as well. And also another point, a nice shot block there by Jill Stratton. I believe it was her who got the block there on that last possession. As we see her hit her nice close-range jumper as well.
She's really finding her stride, just completely deked out her defender, off ball, going back door, right down the middle of the court with a great cut and find there by the Varsity Blues. So 47-24.
Well, this score line, excuse me, John, it's resembling the one that, very close to the one that was the score line the last time these two teams met. It was 58-27. Right now, 49-24. It could end up being very close to the same score.
Yeah, York just struggling so much after that first quarter. They've scored just 8 points since that opening quarter of 16. And I think you brought up a great point early in the second and late in the first. I believe you brought it up, is the idea of depth, and we're seeing it. I think there's absolutely no question that's been the difference in this game. Is the ability to be able to play 10 players. It's a nice little scoop shot there. But the ability to play 10 players rather than 6 or 7 is it's just frustration setting in on all levels for York.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it would have to take a gutty performance by the Lions in order to win this game. As Staunches goes in, and Megan Staunches now with the double-double, 11 points, 13 rebounds. What an effort by the senior here tonight.
Yeah, she's had a heck of a game. Definitely didn't want this one to be her last, so great play by her, and Pango's trying to have a little discussion with Ernest.
She looks really tired to me, John. She's been out on the floor almost the entire game. I have to allude to the fact, or mention, I should say, the daughter of Bill Pangos, the coach here of the York Lions, also the brother of Kevin Pangos, who's a guard at Gonzaga University, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, basketball definitely runs in that family.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, she's really had a good effort in this game. She just has had a hard time dealing with the pressure as she flushes down both of her free throw shots. She's an excellent free throw shooter, John.
Yeah, great form and follow through on that shot. And you expect that from the coach's daughter. I mean, she's got great form, and when your dad's a 25-year CIS veteran coach, that's going to happen.
Well, coaches do tend to preach fundamentals, do they not? And you could tell she's got her fundamentals down. She splashed down 12 out of 14 from the stripe in their last game, a win over RMC. She led them with 18 points in that game. As we see a nice reverse layup by Longauer. Just a great performance off the bench by Longauer. She's now into double digits with 11.
I'd definitely give player of the game at this point with 6 minutes left and a 53-28 U of T lead over York right now. I'd definitely give player of the game at this point to Staunches, but Julie Longauer off the bench, a close second.
The best bench player in this game, I think you would have to say. Just an all-round effort. She's come in with great energy off the bench, defense, offense, just really providing a huge lift to the Blues. And, we said it before, we'll say it again, depth has been, I think, the number one factor in this game.
Yeah, nice little crossover there by Pangos. And you said earlier there as Osborne hits from the baseline and makes it 53-30 for U of T. Staunch is trying to come the other way. You said earlier that Longauer, probably bench player of the game, as Christy Shute hits from downtown. Well, she's definitely been the best bench player for U of T. And then you look at York and you say, well, she's only in competition with one other player because they're only going 6 deep in this game. And
April Hills played 7 minutes in this contest, and I really got to question, obviously Bill Pangos has been in this for 25 seasons, and he wants his best players out on the court, but are they really your best players when they're obviously gassed like they are like this? I got to wonder why he didn't play at least one or two other players who don't usually get a lot of burn.
Well, injury's definitely an issue for this team. They usually only go 6 or 7 deep, maximum 8 early on in the season, and then they've run into some injuries. But you've got to think that he's probably never been in this situation where he's only had 6 real players to go to. And you hope that he never has to be in it again, because it makes for a frustrating brand of basketball for those 6 players to play and those bench players to just watch. So a 28-point lead for U of T, 58-30 with 4:30 left in the game in this quarterfinal OUA matchup between the York Lions and the U of T Blues. Staunch is just getting fed inside. Called for the carry.
A little bit of a shuffle of the feet there. A bit of frustration for Staunches, but she has nothing to be ashamed about in this game. Just a absolutely amazing effort from her in this game. Just to update on her stats, 13 points, Sean, 15 rebounds.
Yeah, that's just incredible. A couple steals and a couple assists as well, and that great block as well. So she's had an all-around game, and that should be the end of her night with 4 minutes left. Wow, we've seen a great performance from a fifth-year player here.
Yeah, she's really lifted the level of her play and really led the Blues to the victory in this game.
And, you said earlier you hate to question Bill Pangos, but at this point in time with 3:40 left, you've got a key contributor to this team in Julie Longhour and a starter in Jill Stratton still out on this floor. With a 28-point lead, is it necessary? I'd like to see maybe Melissa Frederick or Amanda Lum get a little bit of burn.
I absolutely agree with you, John. The last thing you want to see at this stage of a game that's no longer in question is an injury. You don't want one of these key players, like you said, to go down. And you also got to wonder why they're still going with the full court press. This game is obviously over.
It's a real staple of Michelle Belange's to keep that full court press going, even in blowouts for an extended period of time, pretty much till the completion of the game. I mean, I've seen it happen until about 30 seconds left, until the last possession of an opponent and allowing to bring it up. It's almost like we'll let you have this last time to bring the ball up. But usually we see an Amanda Lum integrated into that press, somebody who doesn't see a lot of action, but getting an opportunity to contribute and provide some fresh legs, because the best thing for a press is everyone knows the system. You can implement anybody into it, and you're ending up with some fresh bodies, a little bit more quickness. I mean, at this point, Jill Stratton's played 34 minutes. She has 6 points, 4 rebounds. Not her greatest game, shooting 3 for 12, but you shouldn't just leave her out there to say, hey, go get your 10, because she's a great player, and I'd love to see her out there, because it's a joy to watch her play. But at some point, you need to be realistic, and you need to look forward at Saturday's matchup.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And to me, playing players that don't necessarily get a lot of playing time, it's a win-win situation. They get an opportunity to play in an OUA playoff game, and as a coach and a coaching staff, you get an opportunity to see how they respond to that. And on top of that, as we do see Lum out on the court now, you avoid risking injury to some of your best players.
So now going to a half-court pickup and trying to integrate a bit of a zone and then drift right into a man. This is a great different look from U of T. We haven't seen a lot from this game. But nice to see somebody like Amanda Lum out on the court who hasn't played the entire game, and with 2:45 left and a 32-point lead. She should stay in for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, John. I mean, it's a great chance for her to get, like I said, some playing time in a playoff game. You never know if she's going to get that opportunity again. She's not obviously the tallest player that you're going to see. She's only 5'3", but she definitely provides some nice energy to the Blues, and it's a great chance for her, like I said, to get some playing time.
And, good communication by her in terms of setting up the offense, as you see right now, and the way that she also communicated in trying to beat that press, in orchestrating and moving bodies into different positions so they could beat it effectively with a simple 2 passes. Rebound there by Lausen, and here comes Longauer. Kicking it over to the side, Bailey, back rim.
And who is it? Julie Longauer.
She's having a heck of a game.
Yeah, she certainly is. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Just a bit of an update. John, she has 13 points in 13 minutes. She's also got 3 rebounds. And, she's 6 of 9 from the field. She's got 2 steals. Just an awesome performance in this game from Julie Longauer. And that's the thing with the Blues. It's not like they have just one really good bench player. They have 4 or 5 very solid players coming off their bench that could do a lot of damage in any given game.
Yeah, I think the great thing about it is not just that they have a lot of depth, that each player brings a different look.
Yes.
If you take Julie Longauer and put her out on the floor and take Megan Staunches off the floor, you have a completely different team. You have to defend that team in a completely different way with that stretch 4 player or Rachel Sider in that position as we get a 3 from Emma Ferguson. She gets on the board. To make it a 62.
Well, yeah, it's also, nice to see Emma Ferguson out there in the court coming in cold and flushing down that 3-pointer no less. As we see the crowd, hear the crowd kind of saying goodbye to the York Lions, so to speak.
That's got to be...
It's quite the rivalry between these two schools, isn't it, John?
Yeah, not necessarily just a subway trip away, a bus ride and a subway trip, Graham.
Yeah.
But hey, it's...
oh!
It's getting
April Hill hitting the deck hard, and I'm not sure if I saw that correctly, but I think her head hit the hardwood a little bit. But she's showing her toughness. She got right back up, and I see her grabbing her head a little bit there. She seems okay, so that's good to know.
So 1 minute and 30 seconds left, 90 seconds remaining. As April Hill controls on the side and goes in back to Hill for 3. Back rim, Christie shoot.
That shot was like a missile. I mean, didn't really have the arc it needed to have.
And Amanda Lum didn't hold up at all. She just threw that way up to Julie Longauer with 1 minute left. It's a 62-35 U of T lead.
Well, York just trying to take some positives out, hoping to have a good finish to this game. That's the thing about basketball. You can't stop playing. As in any sport, really, I guess.
A board there by Lausen, and Longauer adds insult to injury by finishing on the fast break with just 40 seconds left. It's 64-35 for U of T.
Excuse me, John. Longauer now leading the Blues in scoring with 15 off the bench. An impressive performance.
Foul there is going to send Samantha Ernest to the line. 22 seconds left in this contest, and U of T is going to play on Saturday.
Yeah, they've got to be thrilled about that. They're obviously favored in this game. They obviously also can't be too happy with the way they came out. York jumped out all over them. They took a 10-point lead after the first quarter, but they've got to be really proud, Michelle Belanger, of her team, the way they responded after that, the determination of their defense, the full court press, The performances of Megan Stonches, also Julie Longauer off the bench, that have led this team. And they're going to be a tough out in the OUA semifinals, John.
Yeah, you know, one thing that speaks volumes about this team is that Jill Stratton, leading scorer of this squad, had 6 points in this game. 6 assists and 5 rebounds. She shot 3 of 12. And you still come away with a blowout victory. That's a great sign.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you'd have to think they're going to have to play better on the weekend to get the win, but still an encouraging win. And Varsity Blues are moving on.
So as Graham said, the Blues moving on with a blowout 64-37 victory over the York University Lions. Some good positives to draw from this game. But you know what? There's a lesson to be learned for U of T. As a coach, you love a win like this because you have an opportunity to say, you guys came out flat. We have some things we need to work on. So.
Absolutely. There's nothing better that a coach likes than when you win a game of any sport, but you didn't play your best game. So there's still things to work on. There's still improvements. And for the next team that has to play this team, look out, because they're going to come out that much more determined and that much more fired up out of the gate.
Absolutely, Graham. So on behalf of the rest of the crew here, I'm John Bennett, signing off for University of Toronto Varsity Blues after a demolishing win over the York Lions, 64-37 in OUA quarterfinals. They're moving on and will play Saturday. Tune in on SSN Canada.